I'm excited.
Why's that?
We have an apparel sponsor, Parry Athletic. Such good gear, and it's incredible. I've been enjoying it.
Bro, George came through, messaged us on the Instagram, said he's been following our program for ages. He's getting stronger and more mobile. And he's got this cool gear company called Parry, and he wants to send us some stuff.
And he told me that his mission was to create the best pair of training shorts ever.
Yeah, he wanted something that he could lift and roll in, and that could accommodate thick, muscular thighs and hips.
And that suits us.
Speaks to us.
Also, what I like is I love the colorful design. It actually looks really cool.
I am the most colorful dude on the mats these days, hands down.
Yeah, you get that kind of expression feel. A lot of other jiu-jitsu gear is kind of a bit boring.
Yeah, it's all like grays and blacks and shit. This stuff is the color and the vibrancy.
It makes you stand out. And I think the thing that I've loved about it is just it feels good. It feels good. It looks good. And you, ladies and gentlemen, can get a discount when you go to checkout. If you go to parryathletics.com, when you go to checkout, put in the code Bulletproof20 and you get 20% off. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof, a BJJ podcast. Have you thought about starting your own BJJ gym? Maybe you've done it for a while. You're a purple belt, you're a brown belt. You're like, man, I could do this. I could get some mats. I could get a space. You just want to do it all the time. You love it. Why would you not teach it? You're already teaching a bit. You could do your own thing.
Maybe you're not even teaching, you're just watching it. Maybe your kids go to the kids class and you're like, fuck, this seems like a cool business.
Yeah,
I could set one of these up and get a couple of people to run it and shit.
Yeah.
Like you seem to have that conversation a bit.
Yeah, I mean...
People want to spread it, and you got business people, I got a bit of money, I can,
Yeah, it seems like a good investment, right?
Anyone can get it.
Anyone can get it. Jiu-jitsu is just growing. Make it rain. But here's the thing. I think what I've seen going around the world, looking at different gyms, some people will just chuck some mats in a hall, and then other people like, no, I want to set this up a certain way. And I think that there's some key elements we need. And... if I were going to set up a gym, there's certain things I would include. And you're a bit of a gym consultant, kind of like a murder consultant. The character in Jamie Foxx's character in a particular film, which I've forgotten, where his name is Motherfucker Jones. He's got like face tats and stuff, and they go to him. Oh, it's like Bad Bosses. They want him to kill the boss, and he's a murder consultant.
Right.
So they give him all this money, and he's like, no, I'm the consultant. I don't do the murdering. You do that. I'll tell you how to do it. It's like, what? We need you to kill somebody. Don't fuck Motherfucker Jones. It's so good. So as a professional gym consultant.
You know that I used to own a barbell that was formerly Jamie Foxx's barbell.
Really?
Yeah.
You got that on eBay?
No, I bought it. I worked on a film. First film I worked on, he was a star of.
Oh, wow.
It's called Stealth.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to get rid of some of the, like there was some basic gym equipment that he would use on set.
Yeah.
Like in his trailer or whatever.
Yeah,
and
right.
At the end of the film, they sell off just all
Everything.
of these assets. And I was like, oh, there's a barbell here. And I was like, I'll get the barbell. And it wasn't an Olympic barbell. It was just like the old spin collar ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went to pick it up and they're like, oh, that was Jamie's. And I was like, fucking catch, bruh.
You gripped it and you felt the power. You're like, God, I feel younger already.
Yeah, I'm like 2% black now.
23 and me. Let's test that theory. But starting a gym, I think there's a little bit more to it than people think. And I think what would be good today is we go through what we feel could make a new jiu-jitsu gym better.
Yeah.
And improve the chance of success, longevity, etc. So I've been to many gyms, franchises, garage, jiu-jitsu gym setups, whatever. And at one stage, I had bought my own mats, not to run a gym, but I bought 30 jigsaw puzzle mats so that I could just train all the time.
Yeah.
I had them at the gym I trained at, and I could get them out when there wasn't classes and stuff on in the open space, invite my jiu-jitsu mates in, and we'd roll. And it was the best. It was so good. And then at the end, we'd clean them and we'd pack them all up.
Yeah.
Now, I think that there is some flaws in the idea of just looking at like, oh, it's just jiu-jitsu, because you're starting a business and businesses take organization. And so this is where we start to talk about systems. And Joey, you are a systematic man. Can you speak to this systems piece?
Your business runs on systems, whether you believe that you have systems or not, right? Systems for following up inquiries, systems for how you decide what you're going to teach in a class, systems for, hey, don't walk off the mats barefoot to the toilets, put those slippers on. Like that's a system, right? Systems for I fucking open up, unlock these doors, open these windows, turn these lights on, you know, turn on the music. Like that's how I open the gym to start classes. Now, most gym operators, and this is any gym, not just jiu-jitsu, but most gym operators will just naturally do all of the stuff that has to happen.
You kind of have to when you start, right?
Yeah, it's all kind of pretty logical stuff. But then as soon as the time comes when you get somebody else to cover you, you want to take your first holiday or you get sick, and you're like, oh, hey, so-and-so, hi, student, can you cover for me? Yeah, no worries. And then you realize, oh, they didn't turn those fucking lights on. Or
they left the lights on, they didn't turn them off.
Or the curtain was down. You've got to open that, like people got to see, the blind was down.
Yeah.
Or like, man, these hygiene, people aren't sticking to it. People are just going to the toilet barefoot, come back. And it's really easy to think that they're doing a shit job, but in actual fact, you've done a shit job because you never articulated the system.
You got to teach to them.
Yeah, and so I always think about when you go to, you see this in cafes, and when I used to work in the film industry, we would see this when we'd do McDonald's commercials.
Okay.
We would shoot like we'd often be in the back of the McDonald's, like in their kitchen.
Yeah, right.
And there's checklists for everything.
It's so systemized.
Yeah, like it's like you cannot fuck this up because it's in your face. Do this, like turn power button on.
Tick.
Grab clean fryer basket.
Tick.
Open bag of frozen chips into fryer basket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then even you put that in and they got the alarm. So it's like you put that in, you put the 2-minute timer. And then when that beeps, it comes out and then you put the salt, 2 shakes. Yeah. And it seems kind of condescending because it's like, we're not idiots here. We all know you need salt in the chips, bruh. But the reality is people it needs
but
to
what if I want chicken salt, Joe?
Yeah, it needs to be foolproof.
Yes.
And so I've known this as a gym owner here where it's like you assume so much.
Can't.
And you just, you shoot yourself in the foot, right? Because then all of a sudden the standards drop and you're like, fuck, every time I go away for a week and man, members drop off, people stop coming in. Like the business starts to underperform. And arguably it's because you haven't put systems in place and made it really, really simple for someone else to just keep the thing operating.
Yeah, definitely. And I think communication is huge, right? And I just know myself when I was teaching here at Jungle Brothers and having Nate, whether he would go away and I would cover for him or I couldn't make a class and I needed him to cover it for me. It's so important that even just small amount of instructions, like this class, we're teaching this thing, and I want you to make sure that everybody does X, Y, or Z.
Yep.
And make sure you freaking vacuum those mats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just
that's
a
huge
reminder.
One, right? It's like, fuck, man, the mats were dirty. I can't
and it's just that it might be someone's first class. And then they're like, oh, this place is a bit stank. I think back in the day, you could get away with it. I think 15, 20 years ago, you could have the grottiest gym. It wouldn't matter because people did not have a better option. Now people do.
Dude, I think, you're right. There was a period there where it really was all about the jiu-jitsu. And all the other stuff was kind of peripheral, didn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at AOJ, you look at a lot of the gyms here in Sydney now.
Yeah, SJJA have very clean.
Yeah, they're pristine.
Nice
they got nice
academies.
Reception areas, nice change areas.
Yeah.
They got plenty of bathrooms.
They do.
Right? Whereas back in the day, I was like, just go out there and there's a fucking
round the
toilet
back
that we share with someone.
It's like the old Chinese restaurants that didn't have, I know they had a demountable loo.
Yeah.
They had that old school. So here in Australia.
But that indicates a good Chinese restaurant.
It does.
If you go in the toilet's pristine, this place is fucked.
It's terrible.
I don't want these king prawns.
That's actually, it's funny that you say that.
Go, I'm just checking the camera.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Here in Australia, for many years, toilets were not necessarily part of the build of the house. And so there's plenty of these kind of converted units, which were either houses or residential things, which are now restaurants in these areas. So if you go into an old school Chinese restaurant, which the food's really good, there's every likelihood if you need to go to the toilet, you're going to have to go down the alley, out the back, around the side, and it's a separate thing. And here in Australia, you might get bitten by a poisonous spider, but that's just how it goes. Them's the breaks when you're trying to get that good Chinese food.
I've just got to apologize to the people who are watching this. this camera turned off. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It can happen.
So the first couple of minutes, you probably didn't see me, but now you see me.
Nice. Well, it's just going to have to be me drinking. It's just going to be edited.
JT's just respond.
Wisdom, light bulbs, amazing. I'm going to say just on top of the systems thing, you got to have a +1. There's many instructors out there like, well, I'll just have to teach all the classes myself. That's bullshit. That's just not going to happen. And I know this firsthand, not just from jiu-jitsu and my jiu-jitsu mates, but from running a gym. Being the owner and being the operator, usually it's how it starts, but you will get sick, you will get injured, and maybe you'll just sleep in. You need someone to get your back. It happens. We're human, right? You don't want the business to just stop because of life. So as a result, if you don't factor in having a right hand man or woman, whether they be a lower belt, similar level, or just someone you can ring in emergencies, you are destined to fail.
Yeah.
They
got to know all the systems.
Yes.
They got to be like kind of trained up to a degree. So they're like, yep, I'm good. I know how it runs.
So if we were to break just quickly to summarize on systems, could you say there would be like 3 systems? Like, can you put it together like that?
I probably couldn't. Like the simplest place to start would be like, what do I need to do when I open the gym in the morning?
Like a run sheet?
Yeah, what has to happen like to open, and then what has to happen during the day, what has to happen after classes, like just mapping out the day, and then what has to happen before classes, what has to happen when I close, and then having a checklist for each of those moments.
Yeah.
And it's on the wall somewhere where it's pretty easy to see. It's not right in the middle of your gym because that's like, it's back of house stuff.
Yeah.
But you can just say, hey, fucko, when you coach the class, when you step in the morning.
Mr. Fucko.
Yeah. See these 5 checklists here? Make sure all of these are ticked. Like just don't, like this is the Bible.
Yep.
That's the starting point. Then you could build more for like, what happens when you get a sales inquiry?
Yeah, CRM.
Exactly, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think that's the biggest starting point because you know, bro, I can't make it in tomorrow. Here are the keys. When you get in, it's all there listed out. You already know how to teach a class. You're a purple belt. But if you can just make sure you hit those checklists, we're golden. And they're like, oh, great, thanks. I was concerned I wouldn't know how to do all that, but you've got it on the wall here.
Yeah,
perfect.
it's explicit.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about going to a gym and not knowing what the fuck is going on. So when I went to Germany to visit our friend Marcus at Fight Zone Berlin, he told me,
good man.
He's a good man, and Fight Zone Berlin, great gym. So this is not a comment on that, but I didn't understand how to access the gym because it's kind of in an industrial area, and it's at the back of a kind of MMA kickboxing gym. So the front of the gym doesn't look like a gym.
Right.
There's like tiki statues and palms, and there's actually a
Very
big
German.
slide. It's kind of weird because the guy who owns the gym or like owns that block, he's got like sculptures in the front and it doesn't look like a gym at all.
Yeah.
But this was the address. So we pulled up, we slid this like huge steel gate across. I'm like, oh, it's hard to get in, kind of walk in. Oh yeah, there's some fight posters, a bit dark. And then the owner is fully tattered, like face, eyelids, neck.
Nice.
And he's just Tong Po kicking the fuck out of this heavy bag. And I walk in like,
Bag doesn't hit back.
No, but bro, the bag couldn't hit back. It couldn't if it tried. This guy's just furiously kicking. And there's a bar there, like a bar.
Like a drinking
bar, like, yeah, alcohol, whatever.
Oh.
It's not reception. It's like, after you've done your hard rounds of Muay Thai, you just want to get into a few, mocktails, cocktails. Yeah, just get into it. Long Island iced tea after a concussion. And he just looked at us like, what the fuck are you looking at? And we were like, Fight Zone Berlin, Guten Tagen. Like, what's going on here? And then he was just like, And I'm like, okay. And it's like a fair mat. It's a huge gym to get to the back to where. And then once we were there, people rolling, Marcus says, all good. But I didn't know what the hell to do. And I was also like, whoa, is this guy going to attack us? I didn't know he was the gym owner because he didn't even say anything, not even in German.
Right.
He was just like, I'm doing my thing. The fuck you want? I'm like, we could have been customers.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? So I think one of the biggest problems when people come to certain gyms is they just don't know how to act. They're interested. They see the jiu-jitsu. They're like, oh, I want to get a piece of that action. And usually they come when the class is on, right? So the instructor might be rolling, like even Adam's gym.
Yep.
And so he's in the middle of something. Someone kind of pokes their head in like, hey, this looks weird, but I'm kind of keen. This looks like some UFC shit. Could I get amongst it? If you don't have a way to guide people through the space, if there's not a reception, if there's not a way to guide people into your gym, it makes it less likely people will come to your gym.
Yeah, it's intimidating as fuck to step into, if you can't find the entrance, that's intimidating.
It's
because you're like, oh, I look like a bit of a dick out here. Fucking, this is really awkward. But even if the entrance is obviously there and you can see, oh, that's the room where everyone's trying to kill each other in the fucking pajamas. Man, if you've never done jiu-jitsu, but like even if you have, even if you're a fucking black belt, it's still a little bit intimidating stepping to a new gym.
Or just off-putting.
When people are sparring. Always is. Like you always get that little rush of like, oh, hey, like I'm new here kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you have to, I think as a manager or an owner, you have to remember that it's a really intimidating environment for someone new. Yeah. So the onus is on you to make that as like the least intimidating as possible.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, even here at Jungle Brothers, right? Because it's an open space.
Dude, we only just put a reception desk in. Yeah. We've been wanting that for years. But it's always been like, hey, step up to this warehouse full of people doing hard shit. With their shirts off and stuff.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I think people who vibe this thing are like, this is sick. Like, this is where I want to be. This is a great place. You get it's a great vibe. But if you're not someone who's experienced,
you're an outsider.
You're kind of like, oh my God. What?
Yeah.
It's strange. So I said it's kind of like the UX of gym space.
Yeah.
You got to guide that person.
User experience for those of you who don't own an app company.
It's tough, but you'll get on board with
see you in Palo Alto.
Sand Hill Road.
Yeah, convention or some shit.
South by Southwest.
Hanging out with Steve Jobs. Oh, wait.
Oh, bad things happen to bad people.
No, I wasn't even a comment on Steve Jobs.
He fucking was. Steve Jobs was a fucking joke.
He wasn't a very nice guy.
He was not, but he makes great technology, or steals other people's good ideas. So interesting thing is, you may not be aware of it, but it's same thing with the systems. If you can't guide somebody into your business, they go from being, say, like, interested and not a customer to converting them to being a customer and ultimately being like a raving advocate for your business. Because that's really the best thing you can have is someone loves your business and they're like, dude, this is fucking mad. You need to come with me, get amongst this shit. Like, if you don't have that, your business is not likely to grow. You need good word of mouth. And really, for those of you out there who are not like fucking with like paid marketing, which is usually comes down the track, you need those people. So you got to make people feel welcome. Like, jiu-jitsu is weird enough as it is. It's off-putting enough as it is. So I think having that kind of front desk reception, somewhere where people are like, oh, if I stand here, I'm communicating that I'm here to understand what this is about. So it doesn't mean you got to have a receptionist, anything like that. But I think making a waiting area space or having a reception helps people feel like, oh, I can be here. It's not too weird.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is hard, right? For some gyms that are real small, it's like, man, where am I going to put a reception desk?
Sure.
And I guess, you probably realistically can't do you can't have all of this shit in place unless you are like, hey, look, I got 100K.
Yep.
And I've got a big space and we're just decking it out perfectly.
Yep.
But for a lot of operators, it's like, man, I don't have a lot of startup capital. I got this space. It's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
But I reckon we can get the mats in and we're going to make it work. So in that way, if you're like, look, I can't do a reception desk, fine, right? It would be ideal. But then have a think about, okay, what can I do to make it as inviting as possible for somebody? Can I put some signage on the front so that they see like, hey, a new person.
Yeah.
Please feel free to step in. Can you put a little bell on the door so that when they open, you might be rolling because you got a small gym, you're trying to get your training in, but fuck, there's someone at the door. So you're like, hold the roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had you in a triangle, cunt. Run back. Oh, hey, what's going on? Or can you even like tell all of your members, hey guys, I train in these classes.
If you
notice someone new walk in the door, you know how intimidating it was when you first came in. Can someone go up and greet them straight away?
Yeah.
And then just get me. Like even that, right? If you walked in and then just someone comes up and says, hey, what's up, man? Welcome to the gym. My name's fucking Mike. Yep. Let me just grab the coach for you.
Yeah.
That's like, oh man, like ice has been broken. We're good.
It's good. Yeah. I think that's really, really key. And certain gyms do this like better than others. It kind of has a natural flow to it. Like you take your shoes off here, and here's where everyone puts their shoes.
Yeah.
And then from here on, it's a no shoe space.
Yeah.
Or some gyms even give you flip flops, like that kind of like slides. Like you know how certain Japanese restaurants they're like, take your shoes off here. We'll give you little, like kind of what you have at a hotel or something, like little material type slides. Yeah, I've been to a gym where they actually they're like, yeah, take your shoes off here and here and now
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really well thought out.
Yeah, and again, like I think if you are building the place from scratch and I think it's nice to just map that, isn't it? Like, all right, how do I want it to be when someone walks in? What's the flow?
Yeah,
you know.
And look, we're not getting into feng shui here. It's just more that if you put thought into this, people will, even though it won't be very conscious, they will be like, this is organized. I trust this, right?
Yeah.
The more chaotic and crazy something is, just like an individual, you're less likely to earn trust. So you get that trust, people want to give you money because you appear less like a crackhead. Like, oh, if I gave you $100, you wouldn't just make it disappear and be like, hey man, you got another 100 for me? It's like, no. People need to be able to trust you, so you want the space to be welcoming. The next thing, planned social activities. So jiu-jitsu is a great community. I've met some of my favorite people in the world through jiu-jitsu. But what jiu-jitsu gyms tend not to do is actually plan deliberate social interactions between their people.
I think jiu-jitsu for a long time has just operated off a lot of the great stuff that's kind of included in the practice.
Yes.
Which is physical connection, like intensity, overcoming challenges, competition amongst individuals.
Jiu-jitsu hangs. The chats afterwards.
Yeah, like, a lot of that stuff. Like, and all that stuff comes about because of the intensity and the intimacy of the training.
Yes.
Right? Like you're wrestling someone else. You're having this really, I say intimate because like there's a huge amount of physical contact. Like it's you're so fucking close to another person.
You're making me give up on life by shoving your crotch in my face. Dang,
that's right.
That's intimate.
Like you think about a lot of other training methods, they just don't have that. And so as a result,
striking is a lot more. Get away from me. Get away from me. Don't stand close. Teep. Check. Get away. Get away.
Yeah. And so those styles I would say just don't get that natural benefit of the strong bonds that jiu-jitsu does.
Correct.
Because of the intimacy, right? So anyway, what I think is, so in that way, the people who are in your gym will usually be pretty tight. Like the people who are trained together regularly will develop strong bonds. That's pretty cool. But here's the thing that I think for every gym owner, and this is all gyms, we tend to get really fixated on the thing that we're practicing as being the main thing.
Service.
And in a way it is, like people are there for jiu-jitsu. But actually, if we look at that from another point of view, people are there for other things. And those other things are, they want to feel better about themselves. They want to feel fit and healthy. They want to feel like they're developing every day. They want to enjoy the 2 or the 3 hours they spend there every week. Like, hey, man, I had to fucking run out on my family tonight to get here. I'm fucking tired from work. Like, usually that person is wanting to have a positive experience.
Of course.
Right? They're not like, hey, I want to fucking throw down and be in the fire. You know what I mean? Like, some people are, but most people are like, I want to have a good time, get fit, feel better about
myself. This is my happy place.
Yeah. So in that way, a big part of that is like making friends and keeping those friendships alive and
belonging, connection.
Exactly. So planning social events or having a system around fostering these social bonds is really important. Now, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it might be as simple as you look at the calendar for the year ahead and you go, all right, we've got 12 months in the year. We're going to have a Christmas party here. All right, we're going to do a half year party here. Cool. That's 2 big parties, 6 months in between. All right, cool. What do we got on top of that? Well, we've got grading. So let's space those out at, say, every 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Okay, grading and the half yearly party, they can fall on the same day. Great. We'll have a big blowout after the grading. We can do it on those 2. Cool. What do we do on those other ones? I don't know. Let's go fucking do paintball. Whatever, right? Maybe you go, look, I like to keep the gradings really official. Let's plan let's do breakfast on a couple of weekends. Like whatever it is, like we got a brewery around the corner here from the gym. Really cool brewery. So we go there all the time for social events. Like, hey, we're doing some training, whatever, and then we're going to go and drink some beers.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Got cafes up the road. We utilize them. So I think having those in place rather than being reactive, and reactive is when your members say, can we fucking go out and do something? Can we have a social event? Like, what about the Christmas party? And you're like, I haven't planned anything, but I'll put something together. And then 3 weeks before you go, guys, we're having a Christmas, and it's the busiest fucking time of the year. Yeah. And you're like, guys, in 2 weeks, we're all getting together for the Christmas party. And then hardly anyone comes, and you're like, well, I put these events on, no one wants to come anyway. You're like, no, dickhead, it's just you put it on too late.
That's right.
And you, like, it was an afterthought for you.
That's right.
So why would anyone else value it?
That's right.
Whereas when you go, guys, Christmas party, it's fucking 6 months out, book this date in, we're getting lit.
Yeah.
I need you to be there. Look at the fucking video from last time.
It was great.
We're doing shoeies. like you build it up and you sell it to the people.
Yeah.
And you're like, you come to the Christmas party, right? Like you're reinforcing
really
it.
put it in there, make it a thing. And the thing is, people shouldn't have to ask you to do it. No. You should really have had a bit of a think, whether it is something that's totally un-jiu-jitsu related, or you always watch the UFC with everyone together, get a table,
perfect.
Everyone gets some food together.
Who's number number one and shit?
Watching events like at Absolute, like Lockie would do that. We had a TV set up, and like everyone, even if it was like something ridiculous, like we were watching Craig on EBI, or we were watching Lockie on EBI, everyone would get to the gym, even if it was like late on a Friday or really early on a Saturday or some bullshit, we'd all be there, kind of like back in the day, having like a sleepover, people there in their fucking pajamas on a beanbag, just on the mats.
Yeah.
Because everyone's...
Just tell them, like, bring some food and shit, go buy it yourself.
Yeah.
But people are like, oh, we're out here, like, eating food, watching fights, this is sick.
We're here for it, you know, and that's what really breeds community. It's the stuff around the skills. And I think we've talked about this before. It's what keeps people coming back. Yeah.
Because that's the chance for people to talk to, man, fuck, what do you do anyway? Like, tell me about your work and shit. Like, people build friendships during those times. I mean, look, it's the modern day church.
Yep.
Right. And all of these, whether it's whatever your kind of gym you have, your gym is the church for the people that come there. And so what does the church do really well?
Community.
They fucking bring people together every Sunday, man. And they do shit, and they make people feel wanted and belonging. And we worship Master Elio together,
yeah, for sure.
Like, there's so many parallels there. So I think, like, put that shit on, make people, like, give them something that is a space outside of their work and their home life where they want to be there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I think that's strong. Now, here's the thing that flows on nicely from that is member support and just checking in with your people. Because I think this gets missed, right? Say someone like pops their knee. We don't know how bad it is, but they go off to the side. You do what you can, look after them.
No big deal.
Yeah, it is what it is. That's what you get when you play with fire. You get burned. No, so you might pop your knee doing whatever. That person is then not coming in for a week. If you're not really aware of that, not like just a message on Facebook, like, hey man, whatever, did you go get your knee checked? Did you go to physio? Like, the thing is, this is good on just a friendship level, like, you're my mate, are you okay? But then also on a retention level, because that person gets injured and they find out, oh, hang on, you've completely ruptured, your MCL, you actually need surgery, you don't check in with them, they're now booked for surgery, they can't come in for 3 to 6 months, and there's no communication there.
You're not going to put your membership on hold, right?
No, like,
still keep the subscription going.
We need you. Yeah. And I think this is the thing, you've got to factor it in as even a new person. A new person comes in. If you don't have a way to follow up with them, like, how was your first class? Any concerns? Do you need any help? Even just that as a gesture means a lot to a person that you actually give a fuck about them. It's not just like, get in here, you're another number, give me your money.
Yeah. So the member journey, you gotta look at it from, what's the journey like for this person within my business? And if you got a lot of members, that's a lot of fucking journeys, and you need to keep an eye on them. And so here's the thing: if you got a bigger gym, lots of members, well, then you can have staff that can help assist with this, right? You can have a part-time admin person, but really, you should be checking in with that person at least every other week, like every couple of weeks. Hey, JT, man, I haven't seen you in class. Like, how's it going? Or, dude, sick training last night. Did that fucking tip I gave you on the armbar help?
Yeah.
Whatever, token shit. But it's stuff that lets JT know, man, Joey's looking out for me.
Yeah.
Coach is looking out for me. And whether that person is a brand new white belt or they're a seasoned purple belt, I would argue it's just as important.
Yeah.
Of course, you have your hardcore ones, and your hardcore people, they're going to be less affected by that stuff.
No, they're going to show up anyway.
Yeah. But I think the problem is when like you foster people through the early part of the stage, and then you're like, oh, they're solid. And then you just don't help them anymore.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty common that people sort of float around in that space for a while, and they're like, man, I'm not really getting what I used to get out of this joint.
No.
And then they go to some other gym where the coach is more actively engaged and they're stoked, right?
Yeah.
So I would argue you need that kind of system in place. You need to check in with people, and it has to be like they have to feel the love from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any relationship, right? You start out, you're bringing them flowers, taking them out on dates.
That's right.
You know, telling them how beautiful they are.
Baking things, cooking things.
Yeah, you know, you're doing shit you just wouldn't do.
Yeah.
You're packing the dishwasher. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? Have I become a different person? Then maybe, you know, it's really working really well. You hit it off.
Dishwasher. You're such a romantic, bro.
Oh my God, fuck. Such a beta male. So then, you know, maybe you move in. That's going well. Work out that dynamic. After a while, you're both working. Maybe not seeing each other as much. Maybe you're not being as romantic.
Start pissing on the toilet seat.
Not cleaning it up. No, that's fucking filthy. Don't do that. But then, you know, it's no longer the big, grandiose, you know, sexual encounters. It's just like a random hand job. You're like, that's not fucking, what the fuck is that? That's you fucking
gave it to yourself.
You're Walter White.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I know how to get me off. No, you know, like it's like Walter White. You know, that I don't know if you remember the scene at the start of Breaking Bad. It's his birthday, and Skylar's like on the laptop doing like eBay selling, and she's just like, "Happy birthday, doll!" Like,
oh no, I don't remember.
Oh, bro,
wow.
his life
That's brutal.
Sucks. You don't want.
Then
this.
they have when he starts making the drugs,
Yeah, he
they have
gets
that really,
turned on.
like full on sexual encounter.
Yeah. Because he's like, I am the darkness.
Yeah.
I am he who knocks. But what I'm saying is, if we circle this back around, it's very easy when a relationship is new to treat it as special, and that over time, yeah, sure, you get to know somebody, you feel like, oh, they're good, they're fine. But in truth, everyone's paying memberships. Everybody deserves a degree of attention. Some people more, some people less.
Yeah.
A really good technique I got from a friend of mine was just a weekly, like, they always did it on a Sunday. They just, depending on the person might need a call, or maybe it's as good as a message. Just like, hey, looking forward to seeing you at this session this week. This is what we're doing. Just that little thing. And actually, it only takes you not very long. It honestly, if you think you're going to sit down for it on a Sunday, put aside half an hour and send out, I don't know, 20, 30 text messages. It's not hard to do.
No.
But it's a little reminder and a prompt. Oh, shit, that's right. I've got to organize my shit so I can get there on Wednesday.
Even if you're in your gym WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, guys, this week, like that's really impersonal.
Yeah.
I would argue this is like base level, but that's something, isn't it? Hey, guys, this week I want to see everyone like 3 days a week. What days you coming? Comment on, you know, whatever, which days you coming this week.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I think what's really important about that is like there's this emotional roller coaster that you go on as someone running a gym, whereby you're like emotionally connected to the performance of your business, and one of the greatest sort of expressions of that is how many people show up for class. And you're in there, it's middle of the week, it's Wednesday night, you got a great class planned, and 3 people show up, and you're like, man, it's normally busy. Like this class normally gets like 10, 12 people.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, where is everyone? And if you can, in that moment, look back and go, well, I didn't message anyone in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I haven't done any hype on the social group. Then it fucking hurts. You're like, man.
You're lacking.
Like
it's on you.
You dropped the ball, right?
Yeah.
You're lazy with it. Whereas when you're like, I followed up, I've been calling people, I've been fucking texting people, I've been like making sure everyone's getting what they need, blah, blah. I've been blocking time out to do that. You don't end up in that situation.
That's right.
It actually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know? Or maybe a couple of people don't show, but they'll probably text through on the group like, hey man, sorry I wasn't in tonight. I had a thing. You're like, thanks for letting me know. I feel good that you're not like, that's fine. You didn't just ghost me.
Yeah, the accountability.
Yeah.
You build a relationship and then there's accountability there, which is what you need. Now, last but not least, this is probably just from our own wheelhouse, but I think we're going to see this more and more in the future as jiu-jitsu gyms evolve and grow, is a rehab corner. Now, some gyms have a dedicated gym space. They're like lifting over here, jiu-jitsu here. And that's cool. Like I went to Alliance in San Diego and mate, they like the space where you walk down the side of the big main mat. They've got squat racks and they've got barbells and lifting platforms and they've got everything you need. It's basically like a kind of mini elongated CrossFit gym. But people are always in there using it because they're very professional about how they approach their athletic development. And they've got another side mat. The bathrooms are fucking mint. They just, I think there's a lot to be said for a really nice bathroom. Just putting it out there as like you can't always get it that way. But if you walk into a place, you're like, dang, they actually care about the small details. It's a nicer experience for a human. But the idea of having a rehab corner, you don't have to have a bloody gym, but having space where people can still come to your club and do something and be a part of the vibe and maybe watch, but work on their injuries. Acknowledging that injury is part of the journey and that you are still prepared to include people when they're injured. I think this is a big move for retention. Even if you, and I don't know how it works here, Joe, but I seem to remember there was like a wounded warrior list or something.
Yeah, it's the wounded warrior membership.
Please tell me about this.
Yeah, so when someone cops an injury, wherever, sport, in the class, whatever, they can go on a wounded warrior membership, which is reduced rate. So it's, 60% of their normal rate. And they get access to open gym, where they can follow their rehab program, which we'll organise for them if they don't already have one. They can come to the stretch and the bodyweight classes.
Oh, nice.
Which are both very low impact, gentle classes. And so in that, it's like, hey, cool, you're injured. Don't stop training. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put your other membership on hold. We're going to put you onto the Wounded Warrior. Let's do this for, say, 3 weeks. I want you to get to these sessions. I want you to work your rehab at these 2 sessions during the week. And I reckon, hopefully that's all you need. And people are like, fucking great. Like, I didn't want to stop coming to the gym. So this is awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult because you're a jiu-jitsu coach or you're just someone who loves jiu-jitsu. You can't be expected to know, rehab or S&C, and it's important to know your lane. The first thing I always do whenever someone says to me, because I'm not a physio, even though I've helped people with rehabilitation, I say, have you been to the physio? That's my first protocol. And people are like, oh, I went to the doctor. I got an X-ray. Okay, 1, doctors are not necessarily the best at working out stuff about injuries. They're really good with illness. And then number 2, X-rays are useless for looking at torn ligaments. They're great for broken bones if you think you have a broken bone, but it's not going to show you anything with the ligaments. The reason why people get X-rays is just very normal to do, whereas an MRI, even though it may be more expensive, is actually going to show you what the fuck is going on. And that's what you need. You need to go to the physio and you need to get an MRI if you think you have a serious joint injury. Now let's say you've just got a bit of a sprain.
Which a physio can advise, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You should get an MRI. Nah, don't bother.
Yeah, they'll give you that feedback. That's the first step. And then the next question I always ask is, do you have a rehab program? And almost everyone is like, oh, nah, I got some exercises, but I just didn't do them. Like, okay. Because if you don't kind of tick these boxes, it's just going to be way longer till that person's back on the mats. And we want all of our people happy, healthy, get into it. And it's falling out of the habit, right? Someone kind of cops an injury, maybe because there's not follow-up there and they don't have a good reason to come into the gym. You haven't made a reason for them to come in. They lose the positive association. They lose the froth.
Yeah.
And how many people do we know who just kind of fuck out through injury?
Yeah, so many. You gotta look at it from the time, like from the journey of that person, and like injury can be a really catastrophic disruption to their journey in your gym. So if you don't have some kind of solution for that, even if you don't have the space for a rehab, even if it's like you're keeping in touch with them, checking in every week, making sure, whatever, catching up for a coffee here and there, like whatever, inviting them to the social events and shit, finding a way to keep that person in the game and feeling like they're supported. It's so easy for that person just to quit your gym altogether.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not trying to reduce these human relationships down to
transactions.
Yeah, economic units. But the reality is that a dollar that's money that's already in your business is worth more than new money that you might be able to get.
Yeah.
So if you can do a good job of retaining the people you have, that is always going to be more valuable than bringing new people in. Simply from the point of view that the people that are in there, they love being there and they're probably going to stick around.
Yeah.
Whereas you go and do a marketing campaign to bring new people in, no one knows how long they're going to stick around for. They're not necessarily, and you're going to have to put more energy into fostering these people earlier in their journey.
Yeah, it's actually just unit economics. This is straight up. It's going to cost you way more to get a customer than to keep a customer because the hard work is in the getting. So if you could just put in just a little bit of effort to work a bit more on keeping, it will save you. Like it will save you so much more time and energy in the long run.
Yeah.
And the reason why, if I think back to like being in Brazil, there was a huge social obligation to be at the gym every day. Even if you're injured, obviously if you were sick and you had something infectious, okay, that's fine. You can be sick. But if you're injured, you still had to come to the gym to be there.
Right.
To be there for the chats, to hang out. Because there's so much. The thing that surprised me, I'd always see these kind of older boys, like, I don't know, kind of 50s, maybe not 60, maybe professional guys. I'm like, are you training today? They're like, no, they're just there. They're just there for it. And they're just having the chats and talking the shit, just maybe like just razzing people and, and it was that idea of this is my place.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I'm injured, I'm training or not, I pay a visit here every day because that's where I want to be. And I think the more that we can find ways to give people excuses to come in and just, it's cool when people just drop in. You're like, oh, you training? No, I just want to see what was going on today. Oh, what technique is it? Oh, sick. Yeah, all right, cool. That is a cool thing. And the more you have that, then the health of your business is just going to be strong. And so when good and bad times come, it doesn't matter. The health of the organism is strong. It will prevail. That's my take on it.
I like it.
Cool, man.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's it. So
there you go, guys. Now you can go and open a gym and you guaranteed will be successful immediately.
And send us 10% of all your profits.
Check out the Academy subscription. If you want help, you got your little rehab area and you want to give your students instruction on what they can do, you can just outsource that to us. Get in touch.
For sure.